This is the next evolution of capture cards, probably the biggest leap in capture tech we've had in years. In fact, I would say if you're looking to create gaming content, this might be the capture card to get, at least right now. I just mean the capabilities of this card have gotten so good that it genuinely makes me wonder, will we ever need a capture card better than this? Or will this be the last one? I want to answer that at the end. Let's get into it. If you're making high-end gaming content, you should probably also have high-end stream designs and alerts, which is where the sponsor of today's video comes into play, Owned.tv. You know them, your one-stop shop for all your stream alerts and overlay needs. I was just looking through some of their designs today and I was really enjoying the colorful theme. They've got some great designs in there. The chromatic one is stunning. The Rodan one is, I love the brushstroke design. And the Kawaii Cats is... it's iconic. These guys have so many fantastic designs, so if you're looking for a specific look for your stream, it's probably on their site somewhere. And every one of these packages comes with everything you need, from overlays to alerts to transitions to banners to panels, all the things. So if you're looking to make your stream look a little more professional today, I will leave a link in the description down below to head to owned.tv and pick one up for yourself. And while you're there, use code SENPAI to get 50% off. Or the link does that for you. So forget the code. Back to the video. This is the AVerMedia Live Gamer Ultra 2.1, and really, it has two major changes. The first is the HDMI 2.1 ports on the back, and that's the thing that makes this a big deal. This is the first consumer capture card made by a reputable company that has done this. And what this means is that you can play your games at up to 4K 144 Hz with HDR and variable refresh rate while still using this card. The Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 can both play games at 4K 120, but if you used a capture card before this, you had to cap that at 4K 60 because that's all capture cards could handle. It basically means that just about any resolution and frame rate that you're possibly playing on, this can pass through. In fact, here is a list of the maximum pass-through resolutions. I'm going to leave them up on the screen here for just a moment. The capturing itself is a little bit less than this, but it is still practical and it's pretty bonkers for an external capture card. I'll put those up next to the pass-through frame rates. By the way, AVerMedia put a little asterisk next to the 1440p 144 because they mentioned that they're going to be releasing a firmware update that ups that to 1440p 240 Hz pass-through, which is this month. So looking forward to that. Now, some of you might remember that this isn't actually the first 4K 60 external capture card. In fact, there have been two before this, but both of them had major flaws that caused them to totally flop and they've been discontinued. This is where the second major change comes in. First was the Elgato 4K 60S Plus, and this was actually released back in early 2020. The problem was that in order to send that giant 4K 60 video signal over USB 3.0, that video file needed to be compressed first. This meant essentially putting a tiny computer inside the capture card, which is why it's so massive and also why it cost $400. This compression process also caused a 1 to 2 second delay between the footage being played and the footage being captured, essentially making this kind of useless for live streaming. So this didn't end up being a super popular device and it was discontinued pretty quick. Then a couple months later, AVerMedia released the Live Gamer Bolt, which was also an external 4K 60 capture card, but it had no delay because instead of using USB, they used Thunderbolts. This is cool, but this also made the capture card cost $400 and you had to have Thunderbolt on your PC, which is not very common for PCs. At the time, AVerMedia actually sent me a loaner unit to test out and review, and I didn't even open it. I just sent it back because I didn't own a single PC that had Thunderbolt on it. The Live Gamer Ultra 2.1 has a USB 10 gig port on it, meaning it's compatible with really any modern PC. The preview latency inside OBS is pretty minimal too. I mean, we're talking like 66 milliseconds of delay over USB, which is fairly standard for capture cards right now. And it's able to do all that for $300. And by the way, the PCIe version, which I think is called the Live Gamer 4K 2.1, is also $300 and has the exact same specs as this one. Which is interesting, but it's kind of cool that we're now getting feature parity between external and internal capture cards. It just finally feels like current technologies are aligning together to make a truly modern capture card. Which begs the question, What is beyond this? Like, what comes next? The capture card only has to be as good as the gaming device that is capturing, and the gaming device only has to be as good as a player can actually perceive. And it feels like we're getting pretty close to peak gaming performance. Like, we could game and capture in 8K if we wanted, but at that point, given how far we sit away from our monitors, there's really no perceived improvement there. And same goes for gaming above 144 Hz. So I think in next iterations of capture cards, if there's going to be any kind of noticeable improvement that affects every single gamer, what it's really going to be is lowering the cost. And I love that that's where we're at right now. And as always, happy streaming.